fucking go! You really did it that time! I won't lose again! Gotcha! Take this! Can't see me! Can't see me! Can't see me! Close one! Don't mess with me! Take this! Serious mode! You can't handle this! Almost done! Still wanna fight? Yeah! It took a lot to get this far! There! What? You're done!
And here we have Videl. Now, I am definitely gonna have to revisit Videl anyways, because I'm sure with DLC with DLC 4 bringing back what I assume to be all the BT3 characters, that also includes Great Saiyan Woman, who was a very odd exclusion, and Shin, who I think were very odd exclusions. So I am gonna definitely have to revisit Videl. So maybe I should have waited, but who knows? They could have just made it so Great Saiyan Woman isn't even in the game, or is a costume switch. Either way, I'm still gonna have to do her. Like I'm gonna have to do Blue Goku and Super Saiyan 2 Teen Gohan. So I do have to figure out how to name those, even though I think I already have an idea of Super Saiyan 2 Bojack Unbound moveset and Super Saiyan Blue Super Broly Goku moveset, if they don't change any of their actual other attacks and their other forms, like, you know, Teen Gohan getting like some other attacks or things like that. I can just, you know, call him Bojack Unbound Teen Gohan moveset, Dragon Ball Super Broly Goku moveset. Anyways, Videl, yeah, she's here, and she kind of exists in this game. There isn't a lot to her compared to other characters. She is one of the few purely melee-focused characters, and the only other character that really comes close to being full melee is Kakunsa, but Kakunsa has the Blast Ultimate, so she's not a fully melee character. Videl is the only full 100% melee character in this game, and it's like that for a lot of Dragon Ball games. Anyways, let's take a look at her basic strings. Yeah, there's a lot of kicks here. Videl's a very kick-oriented character, which is fine, and just to, like, take a look at her combos. Yeah. I do tend to play Videl a lot, because I do like her, and I think she's a cool character to play and all that jazz. So, absolutely no hate. She does have okay combos, as we can see here. They're not anything to write home about, but they do feel very Videl themed. And again, with like mostly kicks and all this other stuff, it's fine. Her grab, fun fact, reminds me, and I believe they did get this from Raging Blast 2. Videl had two different signatures in that game, similar to Kid Gohan, where if you were in the air, she did a different attack, but if you were on the ground, she would just do a straight combo of kicks, and then I think she ended it with a punch. That's basically her grab here. So they were able to remix her signature into her grab in this game, instead of it just being the normal throw. Now, it does feel weird for her not to have a actual toss for her moveset, but I do like that they were able to bring it back, because I was going to say that I really wanted that to be a attack. Videl kick, basically, this is pretty much Eagle kick, and it is your It is your standard kick. This is your standard kick move. And one thing that I want to bring up is her two supers. So the Videl kick, Desperado Rush, and Videl Rush all combo into each other at the same time, which I will show before we get to her gameplay portion. Anyways, this is basically meant to be Eagle Kick. I don't know why they didn't name it Eagle Kick. In the older games, I know it was called Videl Kick, but now that we're in the more modern era, I figured they would have renamed this to Eagle Kick, but they didn't, which is fine. I kind of wish that this was the move from Raging Blast 2, which I believe was also called Videl Kick. I have to look it up, but she had a move in that game where she would kick the opponent, and it was the kick she used to break Spopovic's neck, or the kick that would have broken Spopovic's neck, and it has a nice, like, 3-second shot of the opponent in pain with, like, their eyes whited out to show that they were, like, kicked really hard. Which I like. I thought that was pretty cool. Obviously, this game doesn't do stuff like that, and I think this is just meant to be one of her command supers in that game. Anyways, though, it's a nice move, and to be fair, Videl, once again, does a lot of kicks, so this makes sense, and it's kind of like her signature move. I couldn't imagine a game with her not having this. Desperado Rush, though. It's a nice combo, followed up by the kick. I really like the ending. So she does a few kicks. I wish they were faster. This game does a lot of slowing down the attacks, which can definitely work sometimes, but it doesn't always work. And in this case, I feel like it's just too slow. If they made it a little bit faster, that would have been fine. The highlight of this, though, is the camera going back and then her hitting them away. That's a really cool move. I like the camera angles and everything, and it does feel like this is like a super version of her grab in this game in particular. Now, Videl Rush is one of my favorite melee moves, and I feel like they actually did a decent job at showcasing this. Those two hits are really nice. They have the fast barrages into the knee to the jaw. It's still as brutal and still as fun as it is in any other game. I still do think the Raging Blast 2 version is superior because those barrage hits feel like they hurt. And then when you see her knee the opponent, damn, that knee feels like it hurts. In this game, it still feels that way. And out of all the rushes that they mutilated, this is easily the best mutilated rush because it doesn't lose a whole lot. Like, this is still really good and would probably make it into my top 10 rushes, possibly for ultimates. Yeah, that's how good it is. And unlike something like a Sadistic 18, Fierce Combination, or Wild Rush, those moves, or Gohan's Burst Rush, those moves were hampered by the way they decided to do them here. But in this one, I still feel like this still retains a fair good bit of its, like, charm and everything. I don't think anything's lost. Now, I did promise to show you guys this, that they all combo into each other perfectly. Videl Kick, Desperado Rush. Get it off! Yada! Into Videl Rush. Boom, see? Told you, this works. This works a lot of the time, by the way. Like, and I like that they all combo into each other. It makes it feel like I'm doing one ultra super mega combo, which I honestly think is really freaking cool.
Did you realize who I was before you decided to challenge me?
Come on! Let's fight!
mess with me. Take this. You can't handle this.
Here I am!
Don't mess with me. Take this. You can't handle this.
Here I am! Here I am! All right! Here I am! Die! Here I am!
Don't mess with me. Can't see 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 me. It took a lot to get this far. There. You're done. Don't mess with me. Take this. Close one. You can't handle this.
Here I
Try harder next time.
So, just for transparency, I did do this on Ultra, and the whole reason that I did not fight Giant Goma, usually I would fight the strongest version, just for shits and giggles, is Hercule and Videl do not have a way to protect themselves from giants, and I didn't want the entire thing to just be a punch and kick fest, because obviously I want to show off all aspects, or most aspects, of these characters, so she fought Du. Anyways, now, ranking Videl in general, and then ranking her against BT3, RB2, XB2, and DBFZ. First of all, Videl herself, I think, is a nice A or B tier moveset. There's nothing inherently super bad about her movesets, besides a few nitpicks that I had about the pacing, but that's about average for Sparking Zero pacing anyways. So I feel like it doesn't hurt her as much as it does other characters, say Birder. Anywho, though, so I think she bridges the gap between A and B tier. So I think we're gonna at least be decent and put her in B. But you can make an argument down below in the comments why she should be A. I don't think she's a C tier character, though. Now, Sparking Zero Videl versus Budokai Tenkaichi 3 Videl, Raging Blast 2, Xenoverse 2, and Fighters. Yeah, we have a lot of Videls to judge here. And easily, the worst one is Xenoverse 2. There's nothing inherently wrong, and if this was DBS Videl, Xenoverse 2 Videl would easily clear this if she was her super variant, but I'm not counting her super variant because they would be distinct characters in this game if they were here. So she is not counted in this listing, by the way. With that being said, though, I say that a lot. Xenoverse Videl, yes, had a lot to like about her, but I feel like in comparison to the other ones, she falls flat. Like I said, she was still a good character, but in general, I think she falls flat and is definitely the weakest of the Videls. Next, I'm going to say it's Budokai Tenkaichi 3, and Budokai Tenkaichi 3 Videl isn't bad. Not by a long shot. Actually, thinking about it, DBFZ will take the next spot before Budokai Tenkaichi 3. So just to clarify, it is Xenoverse 2 at bottom tier, followed by DBFZ. There's nothing wrong with DBFZ's Videl. She's a very melee-focused heavy character, which is always nice. She has really good ultimates, and she has the best ultimate, or she has one of the best ultimates. I always like seeing her ultimate, and wish the games did more for her in this regard. But I think against the other versions, it's just not enough, and barely skirting by being worse than the Sparking Zero version. Just because I like that they kept Videl Rush, and they didn't really add that into any of her stuff for DBFZ, but I will say you can easily convince me to be like, hey, DBFZ Videl should be way higher up, and I would agree with you, simply because I don't really know how to feel about Videl and matching her up with all her other variants, because they're all very similar. So, honestly, depending on how you ask me, DBFZ could be higher than Sparking Zero. But it will never surpass something like Raging Blast 2, which, spoiler, I do believe to be the best Videl. Pretty much, take Budokai Tenkaichi 3, which is the second best version of her, and just improve the camera angles, improve the feeling of the hits, and everything else, and you have Raging Blast 2 Videl, who I still think is the best Videl in most games. Raging Blast 2 nails it. It improves on what Budokai Tenkaichi 3 does, but manages to do it better, and even better than the most modern game in Sparking Zero. Now, I will preface and end this with saying that I don't think any of these Videls are bad by any stretch of the imagination. That's just how I would rank them, and if you disagree, let me know.